Hey guys, happy Monday. Dr. Devin here, head coach and owner at Middle Path. We announced a class workshop last week, something that we have coming up here in our space. And I just wanted to give you a few more details and hopefully answer any questions or curiosities you may have around what we're trying to do. So, we're going to start creating a series that we're going to call the Skillz Lab, which is going to take place primarily here on Thursdays for right now. We are going to open it up to both our members and non-members. If you're part of the community and are just curious about what we're doing here or have an interest in one of these Skillz Lab, we'd love to have you join us for these weeks. This first one is going to be a 6-week series in which we dive into one of our Olympic lifts, we call cleans. We're going to keep these, without getting too jargon heavy, we're going to make these primarily focused on what we call a power clean, which means we're not going to have a lot of squatting involved. We may evolve that over the course of the 6 weeks based on the group that we have. But really what I want to do is just get together and demystify the movement, but also create some space for us to dive into a lot of the details. If you remember watching this and you're curious how it's going to be different from class, it's just that we're going to spend the entire time focused on this one lift rather than teaching it in a brief 5, 7, 8 minute cycle and then cutting you loose into a workout. We're going to create enough space to answer any questions, do some drills, and just hyper focus on this single movement. If you are not a member and you're curious about signing up, perhaps you've heard of this movement, maybe you've seen it in other classes that you've taken elsewhere, and you're like, oh, cleans, and you just have never quite understood them. They feel a little awkward. Maybe you see them and you skip them because you don't like them. Whatever that may be, I would love to help dive into proper form and mechanics and techniques. We'll talk through some scaling and modifications. Even if you're not here in our space taking a class, but perhaps you're elsewhere, it'll help you feel a little smoother with it and just build some confidence around it. This clinic is also completely accessible to the novice lifter. So maybe you've never touched a barbell, you're wanting to start lifting, you've seen the lifts before, but they look too complicated and complex, you're worried about getting hurt, whatever that may be. I'd love to have you a part of this 6-week series and introduce you to some weightlifting, but also help you, again, find that confidence of doing some strength training. I'll probably put out some more videos, but Olympic lifts can be very complicated and complex unless you are purely just working on these lifts. A lot of times they feel very overwhelming. And so I want to take that from start to finish and simplify it, but also help break it down in a way that feels a little more digestible. The only thing we're going to focus on for 6 weeks, that first week is going to be more of an introduction. We'll talk about it, talk about the complexity of them, and really lay out the 5 weeks that are to follow. It's going to run from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. every week for 6 weeks. And we're going to take about 15, 20 minutes to do some targeted mobility. So we'll stretch and warm up for the class, but we'll also talk through some things that will specifically help that lift. We will break into some skills and drills, and that will look different week to week based on what we're going to cover. One week it may be more upper body focused, another week maybe more footwork, but we will break that down, like I said, into more digestible pieces so that you can just focus on one thing while you're in here that week. We will put that together into a bit of lifting. Some of the lifting we will do will happen with a PVC pipe. We have 15-pound training bars and big foam weights so that we can take these lifts from their proper starting position, but without adding any extra load to what we are trying to do. And then as we progress through those 6 weeks, I'm expecting for those of you that are comfortable and want to add a little bit of weight can absolutely do. But the intention of this is not to necessarily get super heavy. We're just going to workshop and break down some of the mechanics of what we're doing. We've got some mobility, we've got some skills and drills. We're going to apply all of that we're learning that day to lifting. And then we are going to finish with some accessory work, which will look different week to week as well. The accessory work is intended to be something that will impact the lift that you are trying to improve on. The nice thing about the accessory work is it will likely spill over into other aspects of your training, whether you're a CrossFit athlete, whether you're doing HIIT training, you're doing anything. We will have basically 90 minutes every week for 6 weeks. If you're interested in joining us, we'd love to have you. For non-members, we're asking $125 for the whole 6 weeks. That will cover everything that you need start to finish. Members, there is a discounted rate for you, and members that are making ACES Club, you can essentially attend the workshop for free. So we'd love to have you join us. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. You don't have to have any CrossFit experience. We won't be doing any sort of Metcons. Like, we're just going to deep dive into some lifting over 6 weeks. And the Olympic lifts are some of my favorite things to teach. So I'm really looking forward to this, and we'll hope you guys will join us.